Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is another episode of The Final Whistle with the Rowdy Rupert guys, the all-star crew, some of my great friends. Please hit that like, subscribe button. It's The Final Whistle here on the Bama Standard. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to go around the horn, starting with Mr. Around the Table Sports himself, Mr. Ty Hayes. How are you?
Man, can't complain. Happy to be here. We've got a lot to talk about. Hopefully we get some commitments this week.
I know. Speaking of commitments, this guy has been committed to Alabama for over, 30, 40 years? Chris James? Is that how it is?
Boy, it's been a long time, bro. I don't know. I lost count. I lost count after 20.
It's been 80 years.
84 years.
You committed under Stallings, right?
Man, come on, bro.
Bill Curry came and paid him an in-home visit.
You're not too far behind me. You committed with Mike DeBosa, D coordinator.
Sir, actually, it was Ray Perkins.
Oh,
you got that
Yes. Walter Lewis said, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?"
Frank Thomas sent me that letter in the mail.
Hey, Justin, you were the first trainer that Gene Stallings bought aboard, so don't try it. Got me beat by 2 years.
Chris is so old, he got his scholarship offer via telegram.
If you ain't ready for him tonight.
Hey, all you had was pre-wrapping tape. You don't know about that. That's all you had was pre-wrapping tape. They didn't have no ICM machines or nothing.
I'm biting my tongue off right now.
Oh, man.
All these softballs are flying, and I'm wanting to swing at every one of them.
But Chris, you doing okay, man?
Man, I'm wonderful, man. You know, just ready for an action-packed show, man. I'm ready to get it on board. Let's get it, baby.
Let's get it. Glad to have this guy back from his busy week last week. Mr. Senior Citizen Dancer himself. Mr. Twerkathon 2024, Mr. Juke, Dan James. How are you today, sir?
Man, y'all know the answer to that. I'm always good, y'all. I'm ready for a high-packed show tonight. Let's get it. Roll Tide. Hit that like and subscribe.
Yeah, hit that like, subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, our Final Whistle analyst, the guy who hates Ohio State Buckeyes more than I know anything, and Auburn Plus. Lucian, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm ready to go. It's gonna be explosive. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get into it. Let's go.
Let's go. Speaking of explosive, the guy who, after leaving Gillette's, had some Taco Bell, and he had an explosive night. Mr. Daniel Perry, how are you, sir?
I can't follow that up. Glad to be here with you fellas. Let's rock.
You know, being in that drive-through line on 15th Street at the Taco Bell late at night.
That or Arby's. Arby's, man. I was a low-key go to Arby's guy.
I heard that. Well, listen, guys. We got all your meats here. Pause. I'm just playing.
Oh my God.
you threw a layup. I had to go there.
Hey, you could have called me the Arby's drive-thru. I had to meet.
Speaking of meat, if you want to take your businesses to the next level for any type of meetings, digital marketing, online presence, go to Workspace Solutions, guys. WorkspacePros.com. They do an amazing job. WorkspaceSolutions.com. That's Workspace Pros. Tap into any of your online digital marketing. They will take you to the next level and help you meet that new goal in your business endeavors. And as always, everybody, hit that like, subscribe, because this is the #1 place for Bama content. And guys, we got an action-packed show tonight. Let's go with our first topic. So we know the NFL schedule is dropping on Thursday. It's going to be exciting. We just had the NFL draft. We know the NFL is littered with nothing but Alabama guys. So a lot of these guys are going to be playing against each other. Guys, I'm going to start with Patty. Go Patty, Lushawn, Dan, Chris, and Ty, and myself. Let me know which Bama versus Bama NFL battle that you are looking forward to.
At some point in the season, I know that I don't guess they've released the dates yet, but I know they've released the matchups. The Vikings and the Giants are going to square off. And I'm looking at that Evan Neal Dallas Turner matchup. I think it's going to be the one I've got circled right now because I believe, Neal's been up there a couple years, so he's got his feet wet in the NFL, and Turner's going to come in like a dang bandit, I believe. So I'm excited about that matchup. I'm going to go Evan Neal, Turner, Vikings, Giants.
Skull. Shouts out to Ty Haynes, big Vikings fan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let's go to our Mr. Las Vegas Raiders himself, Lushawn. Give us your take on this topic regarding Bama versus Bama NFL battles that you're looking forward to.
Y'all know how I get down. I like the strength on strength. I like to see some nasty on nasty. So give me J.C. Latham, Will Anderson, Texans on Titans.
And they play twice a year.
Yeah, a little inner battle stellar right there for y'all.
Oh, and that's gonna be a crazy matchup. Will Anderson versus J.C. Latham, man, it's gonna be interesting. Dan.
Yeah, no doubt, Lushawn, 100%. That was my answer exactly. They square off twice. J.C. Latham, and he is, from my understanding, moving to left tackle. So it's going to be very interesting. He's going to have to grow up fast. Because he's been playing tackle. I guess only 4 or 5 years now. He moved to the offensive side of the ball, so he's going to have to learn fast. And Will Anderson, he's going to help him.
Let's go, Dan. Who's your battle you looking forward to?
Man, since Lushawn stole mine, I don't know, man. I guess I'm gonna go with quarterback. Show some quarterback love. I guess Tua against Jalen. Two of my favorite quarterbacks at the capstone. Tua versus Jalen. That's a intriguing matchup for me.
Jalen got the better half of that matchup last year up in Philly. Fly Eagles fly. So,
right, but yeah, Tua got a few more weapons now, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
We'll see. Chris. Oh, Petty. Chris got a name just one. Okay, everybody. Chris got a name just one. Let's go, Chris.
Y'all so crazy. I'm looking forward to see if Bryce Young gonna taste Kool-Aid.
Oh, you son of a gun.
I like that. You got the Panthers and Saints, so it's gonna happen twice.
Go ahead, DB.
Y'all know it's coming.
Kool-Aid versus Bryce. You can't beat that.
It's a good one.
Is Kool-Aid gonna start out of the gate in New Orleans?
Oh, he is.
Oh yeah.
Kool-Aid gonna give him a spot after preseason camp. He'll be a starter.
Opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore.
I think there's a principled argument that he was the most surefire defensive back in the NFL draft. Like Arnold is so interesting because of the versatility he brings to the table, but Kool-Aid, man, like
that guy.
I've said it before, I'm gonna say it now. I've never seen a corner get penalized for not getting tested. But I saw it this year for the first time in my life. I saw a corner drop to the second round because teams refused to test him. I thought that was a compliment, but what the heck do I know? Petty, you took mine, right? Like I completely agree with you. That right there was my answer. But because you took it, I'll go a little bit further. And it's not really a matchup, but my Vikings play the Lions, right? And Detroit, they got a lot of Bama dudes on that team. So I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs trying to get away from Dallas Turner.
Ooh, like it.
Ooh, nice.
That's how you pivot.
That's exactly how you pivot. And listen, I'm going to go to, shoot. Y'all took all the good ones. Shoot, I'm over here just Wheeling and dealing. I guess I'll go Chris Braswell with the Tampa Bay Bucks going against Bryce Young coming off that edge.
Ooh, yes.
See
That's
what they
cool.
do twice a year down there in that NFC South division. So put in the comments the fans out there, let us know which battles y'all are looking for. Shouts out to Van Edwards.
Diggs.
Forgetting another big one. Forgetting another big one.
Lucian,
Go ahead, Lucian.
Green Bay and Detroit. All those trades and free agent signings that Green Bay got. Josh Jacobs.
McKinney against Jameson.
Yep.
McKinney and Gibbs.
That's a massive
Diggs against every one of any pick a receiver.
That's a big Bama game right there.
For sure.
And that's gonna happen twice a year.
Marlon Humphrey versus Calvin Ridley.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Versus Ravens.
Oh yeah, you got Ridley at Ridley's at Cleveland, right?
Yep,
Tennessee.
he's in Cleveland. That's gonna be
Ridley's at Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Tennessee.
Not really. Cleveland. That's Jerry Judy is at Tennessee.
Judy's
Cleveland.
Judy's at Cleveland.
Jerry Judy's in Cleveland.
Yes. So, got me thrown off, Matt. You're fired.
So it's Judy against Marlon.
Big Judy versus Marlon.
Cooper against Marlon.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the eyes to them guys over.
Cooper and Judy on opposite sides. Two of the two best route runners that ever come through Bama. Oh my God!
With Mr. Touchy Fella himself, that quarterback, man,
he's good with his hands.
It's gonna be a big time meet, guys.
But bro, the two best route runners in the same era on the same team.
Meet on the same team.
I know.
Deron Payne versus Landon Dickerson.
Ooh, I was gonna throw out Landon was one I was gonna throw out. He's gonna run up against a few.
Yeah. Landon, Jalen, DeVonta Smith, all those guys. So guys,
Allen.
Seems like we have Jonathan Allen for sure. Seems like we have handled that topic. Let's shift to our next topic. Now let's get back to the Crimson Tide because we won't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Kalen DeBoer's first season in Tuscaloosa. Give me your biggest concerns heading into fall camp. We're gonna go reverse order. Ty Hayes, give us your take, sir.
Biggest concern going into fall camp. So I know that I've said this a lot. Mine's got to be offensive line. And it's just because it has been a thorn in the side of Alabama for years now. I keep giving y'all this stat in terms of sacks allowed. They were number 129 out of 131. If I'm not mistaken, the only two teams that were worst were Old Dominion and Colorado. Let that marinate. That is, if I told Chris, Matt, everybody on this panel, real quick, round table, real quick. If I told you that a team that ranked 129th in sacks would make the college football playoffs and win the SEC in August, how many people here would have told me I was off my rocker?
I would say there's no way Vandy is going.
And yet they made it, which begs the question, what do you do if you even have an offensive line that's middle of the pack? You probably win the national championship, who knows, but hats off to Michigan. Y'all got it done. I'm not trying to make excuses, but at the end of the day, that cannot continue. Over the previous 3 years, Alabama's offensive line has averaged the 99th in the nation in sacks allowed. 99 out of 131. This is Alabama. Like the fact that you shouldn't have any part of your team be anywhere outside the top 25, 30. In any category, with the way Alabama recruits, with the coaches they can get, that's unacceptable. Now, do I believe that this will get cleaned up? I do. But I have to see it. I'm very happy Caden Proctor's coming back. Hopefully we get that Michigan State offensive lineman. Nikhil Bertrand coming from Texas A&M. They've done work, but we have got to see it. Hopefully Coach Cat pays off, but that's until I see that offensive line make massive improvements, that will remain my biggest concern for the Crimson Tide.
I like that. Chris James, give us your biggest concerns.
Mine would be our cornerback. And the reason why I say that isn't because of talent, it's just because of lack of experience. Because you think about DeMonte Jackson got a lot of snaps, but that wasn't in the SEC. Like, we don't have a corner on the roster with any SEC experience at corner. I mean, think about Jaleel Hurley, pretty much redshirted last year. We have Mincy, who's a freshman. We have Brown, who's a freshman. We have Mbakwe, who's a freshman. Then we just got the kid from Wake Forest. He's not a SEC guy. And everybody knows the SEC is the premier league when it comes to physical football play. It's more than just covering. You have to come up and set the edge and be a physical guy. And can you maintain that pounding week after week? You know, after playing say for example, playing the Ole Miss, then having to play Tennessee the next week, and then LSU, then Arkansas, or something like that. So it's just a week to week grind, and we don't know how we'll be able to hold up on the edges. I think we'll cover fine, but it's a grind, y'all. Y'all know it. Y'all know once we get in the SEC play, it gets tough. So I'm concerned about how our corners are going to hold up. I think we'll be fine at safety. You know, with guys like Malachi Devontae, you know, that veteran Malachi Moore, DeVonta Smith, Keon Saab, guys like that. We'll be fine at safety, but it's the corner spot that worries me the most.
Yeah, hopefully those guys exceed and meet expectations. Dan.
Well, my biggest concern remains our ability. You know, we're transitioning to a 4-2-5 defense. Is will we be able to stop the run? You know, regardless. That's the most important. Regardless of what defense you run, you know, you got to have the ability to just stop the run when you need to, you know, and you got to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So that is my primary concern. You know, will the 4-2-5 in itself allow us to be able to stop the run at will?
That'll be interesting. See if we get that resolved. Lushawn, you do a lot of research. Give us your biggest concern. Mr. ESPN Sports Center himself. Give us your biggest concern.
That wasn't me. I would say my biggest concern is the physicality and the tackling of the defense. I wouldn't say just because I'm with Ty here, they're going to have to show me something different going into this season. I know everybody talks about, you know, how they've improved on that part of the game, but I want to see it. I want to see that old school grind them out, make you just want to die when you play Alabama defense back. So I just want the physicality and that just grind them back nature back.
Patty.
I'm going to kind of go in with what Dan said, but Dan, to answer your question, can Bama stop the run? The answer is yes. If this question answered, and that's mine, can the defensive line be dominant? And the 4-2-5 schemes that I've seen that work, it's because you got a defensive line that can you got 4 dogs that can get it done and allow your 2 linebackers and your hybrid safety to kind of come up and play the run to be able to stop it. So my question is, can that defensive line dominate, man? If it can, you're going to get your question about stopping the run, but you got to have it. That's my question. Can that line do what it needs to take this defense to the next level? Because I'm with Ty a little bit on the offensive line. That's a concern, but I'm almost also in the camp of, I believe so much in DeBoer's offense that I just believe it's going to work until it doesn't. So my biggest concern would be more on the defensive front than the offensive front.
Got it.
Gentlemen, if I may, I want to answer this right here.
There he is.
Because I saw this and I was like, Chris, you absolute goober. Alabama lost all those defensive backs before the defense was transitioning to the 4-2-5 and before the coaches were hired. What are you talking about? Since the new coaches have been here, yes, they've lost 2 defensive backs. Peyton Woodyard, who was a true freshman, who was competing for safety 2 or 3, right? But like Red Morgan was looking like the guy. Then they were looking in the transfer portal even. So that was something where, he had an opportunity to go possibly start elsewhere, and he took it. Hats off to him. And then Tony Mitchell. Tony Mitchell was like safety 3. So the losses you're talking about, as he says, something's going on. I don't know if them players don't like that defense or they don't like the coach. All those losses came when Nick Saban retired. If the GOAT leaves, you're going to have losses. But the losses didn't come after the new coaches were hired. The new coaches have done a good job at acquiring talent. The number 1 center available in the portal, one of the top wide receivers available in the portal, one of the top defensive backs available in the portal, and Keon Sabb. I mean, so you look top to bottom, plus the number 1 kicker in the portal. Yeah, the losses came after Nick Saban retired, not once the new staff was assimilated. I love you, though, you little goober.
I think the biggest concern for Auburn is, can they defend all those cows coming onto the field, tissue, all that good stuff. I think that needs.
That's not the biggest concern. We all know what the biggest concern is.
What's their biggest issue, concern, Lucia?
I would say it might have to do something with Hugh, possibly a building located.
Leaving his playbook.
Located in someone's upper room.
Book instead.
I think the pages are stuck together on Hugh's playbook, guys. I'm just saying.
Well, he has all those meats in the back room of those China plazas. Something's bound to happen that gets sticky.
Oh, God.
Sticky situation, sticky Hugh. So I'm going to round this out. My biggest concerns is kind of on the line with Chris, just the physicality of the secondary. But another one is mine is looking at the schedule, having to go to Norman, Oklahoma, having to, go to Wisconsin, having to go to LSU, having to go to Tennessee. Can we solidify and get back to being that road dominant Alabama team? So that's kind of my biggest concern, being able to win on the road in tough environments. I think our offense will lead us, but, I just got to see it to believe. And I think I'm confident in the guys. I think they're ironing it out, but that's just one of my concerns. Ty?
Nothing. I just, this comment popped up and I just happened to notice that Petty and I at the same time made that same kind of like, I'm not touching that. Like, I'm not going to say a word.
Well, listen, guys.
I think that's actually smart on Auburn's part. Good job. Well done.
Just like Hugh, you need a lot of towels, guys. So shouts out to Title Towel, Alabama. when you come to Tuscaloosa and you meet up with other Bama fans, roll tide with Title Towel, roll tide with Title Towel. If you want this beautiful, amazing Title Towel, go to wetwillsports.com. That is wetwillsports.com. Promo code STANDARD, wetwillsports.com, and get that Title Towel, guys. And it won't be all crusted like guys we know.
I don't know if you can make a short of a segue, but if ever a short was needed to be made of a live show segue, it needed to be that one. Well done, Matt.
That's the best segue I've seen.
Beautifully done.
Chris Williams keeps giving me ammo. You go to Auburn, I can't help it. It's like I'm gonna roll with it, guys. Let's go to Van. He says freeze up his playbook at the furnace one time and only had one play. It said one page. It said play hands on and always ask for the extra massage. Give an extra effort. I'm quite sure, guys. So shifting from DeBoer, biggest concerns. Guys, let's talk about, I mentioned Alabama having to win those road games, being tough on the road, and we're going to have to beat Oklahoma, solidify home game, beat Tennessee. We got to take care of the schedule. Listen, before I get to it, Alabama win the SEC. DraftKings dropped our early Alabama football lines. -7.5 at Wisconsin, +4.5 versus Georgia, -2 at Tennessee, -8.5 versus Missouri, +1 at LSU, -5 at Oklahoma, -15 versus Auburn. Guys, if we can handle, like I said, we can handle the road games and, handle Wisconsin and Georgia, I think we got a big shot to win the SEC. Ty, let's get it started. Can Bama and DeVonta?
Hold on, Matt. So what you're saying is that they can handle every game on the schedule. They got a good shot.
Every game. I know I'm like a psychic, guys.
Hard hitting stuff right here, fellas.
I know. It took me all night to, to kind of formulate that opinion. So.
Sorry.
Ty, give us your take on Bama in DeVore's first year winning the SEC.
Yeah, they can. They can. I think it'd be very difficult. But I think that's the beautiful thing about this being a transition year and it being the expansion of the college football playoff, right? Like, you don't have to win the SEC to ultimately compete for a national championship. And when I look around, there are going to be some real good teams in the SEC this year, gentlemen. Real good teams in the SEC. I got questions about a few of them, right? Like Missouri, they lost their top 2 cornerbacks, I believe. Cody Schrader, their running back, who was unbelievable. I don't know if y'all went back and got to watch any Cody Schrader. He was one of the most fun players in the SEC or the nation. I mean, that guy was sensational. But they still have a real good receiving core. They got one of the top players in recruiting, Williams Winery, who, depending on where you look, was the number 2 or 3 defensive lineman in the year or in the nation. So can Alabama win the SEC? Yes. Listen, you down Georgia week 4, and we're a 4.5-point underdog at home, which for my betting people out there, you'll know that really Vegas is saying that they expect about 7.5, right? Like, you're usually spotted 3 at home. I'm fine with that. As we sit out this far where they have more questions than answers about Alabama, to be a 4.5-point dog to Georgia, I'm actually, that's a compliment in my opinion, right? Like, I just look at this and I'm like, cool, can they? Yes. But I think that it's also one of the good things about, Alabama being in a transition year in a era where the college football playoff is expanding. But after we go around the table, guys, I'd really like to talk about some of the lines they dropped, because there are some things that really stood out to me, but I'd like for everybody to say their piece before we talk about that.
We'll discuss it after this. And this year, the SEC has no division, right? With the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. So only the top 2 teams are going to the SEC championship. Am I correct, Patty, Ty, Chris?
Correct.
I thought that they'd voted on having divisions still because they didn't vote on the 9-game SEC schedule. But you're right, because they wouldn't have been able to do that with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. They haven't changed anything up. So no, you're 100% right. I'm wrong. There's no divisions. I don't know why I thought that. That's dumb.
It's top 2.
Top 2? Okay, cool. Perfect. Chris, give us your take.
Yeah, can we? Of course. I mean, we can win it every year. Will we is a different answer. But when you have a guy like Milroe who can make plays, and if he's improved to what we're hearing, you have a chance every week. Because, I mean, you got to understand, we still have on paper the most talented roster in the country despite those losses. So, and we got a coach that's not a fluke, a real coach that's coming in to replace, another real coach. So I think offensively, we're going to put up 40 plus a game, so which gives your defense a chance every week. So I think we can get stops. All we need is a few stops. We're going to win every game. We can get a few stops. We're going to win. I think our offense is going to be more potent. So it's just going to boil down to, can we stop the run? Can we stop the pass? How that 4-2-5 is going to hold up. So Lawson and Campbell are going to have to play out their mind. You know what I'm saying? To hold it down. And I think we can. It's going to be tough, but we definitely can.
Someone get my man a Diet Coke.
Get him a Diet Coke, guys. Damn.
Looks like he's falling asleep out there.
Who? Somebody Chris 100. He's not gonna be. Y'all crazy. I'm fine.
Dan, give us your take.
The answer to that question, guys, it starts. Our season really starts September the 28th with Georgia at home. We win that, it'll really start looking good. Because, you know, that's going to be our biggest contender for one of those spots is Georgia. So if we can manage to pull that off, you know, at home, which we're very capable of, then it'll become easier to get into Atlanta. But that's one we definitely have to have, that the September 28th game with Georgia at home. Then we also got ahead of us, we got on October the 19th, we got Tennessee at Tennessee, November the 9th at LSU, November the 23rd at Oklahoma. Now we'll need to win 2 of those 3, I'm thinking, you know, but we definitely need to win at home versus Georgia. And we take care of Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma, you know, no doubt we can win it in year 1. And, you know, it's no easy schedule. Not really for anyone, really, other than, I guess, Ole Miss has a pretty slightly easy schedule. You know, they don't really play any contenders. So, you know, we definitely need to take care. That's one of the reasons we definitely need to take care of UGA at home.
At least we're not Florida.
Right.
My God. That November in Florida is going to be brutal.
Right.
Listen, let's answer this real quick. Do y'all think our front seven is not getting enough respect for who we got coming back? A lot of people think our defense is going to be average at best. LaShawn, since you're up next, answer this question, then you can answer can Bama win the SEC question.
I mean, y'all know how I go. They gotta show me. So as far as I'm concerned, they gotta show everybody else. So until they show up and punch somebody in the mouth, I mean, like I'm saying, it's all talk, especially from what we've heard the last couple of years of every defense saying they're going to be something, and then they're not exactly that. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. The jury's still out. I have confidence that they can be. Are they? I guess we'll see.
What about Alabama winning the SEC? Can they? You know, give us your thoughts regarding that, LaShawn.
I think of the first thing that if you want to go into the can Alabama win the SEC starts with their mentality and the extra work they're willing to put in as individuals to get better at this game. I think you have to look at the players right now. Or what are they doing right now as players? Are they going on vacation? Are they challenging themselves in the classroom? And are they getting after what their craft is and what they're trying to do in college? Are they trying to get better every day? I think the battle for the SEC started like probably right after spring ball on who was willing to get better. And if these guys are willing to get better and they put the extra work in the summer, I mean, you really can't doubt it. I mean, look what Kalen DeBoer's done in Washington. Look what he's done his whole coaching career. He has an all-star cast assembled around him, head coaches at positions, you know, just the staff he's assembled and this man's reputation. And then you got to go with the actual mentality of our players. Absolutely, we can win the SEC. If these players show up and do what they need to do and toe the line of what it means to be an Alabama football player, there is no doubt in my mind that we can win the SEC.
Let's go. Let's roll, Tide, roll. Petty, give us your take.
Well, I'm gonna use transitive property, which in sports it's like Sex Panther. 60% of the time it works every time. Look,
Sex Panther.
When I go to this all the time. When Saban left LSU, Les Miles, who I think we can all agree is not the coach that Kalen DeBoer is, was able to win not just an SEC championship, a national championship with what he left in the cupboard. I would argue that he left Alabama in a better situation than he left LSU, and we're also inheriting a better coach. So the question is, the answer is absolutely. I think he could win a title in the first year. But I'm going to disagree a little bit with Dan on the scheduling. I don't think Georgia's make or break. I think Georgia, and I know Bama people aren't going to like this term because of Bama's always is the king, but it's kind of a free shot. You're a 4.5 point underdog. Georgia hadn't lost a regular season game in 3 years. You beat Georgia, you're set up. You're absolutely right in that you're set up, but I don't think it breaks you if you lose it. I think the make or break games are the two big road games you talked about at Tennessee and LSU, which are both very, very winnable. And I think Georgia's winnable at home. I'm not saying that one's not. Again, I think you win that one and you're on your way to doing something. People are already going to start building a statue of that guy. But, you lose that one. I think the SEC is going to be more NFL like this year, even though there's some other contenders out there with Missouri, maybe Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee, outside of Georgia, Bama. I think that's your mix right now. But I think all of them are going to take scars. For once, Georgia has to play some freaking football. They got to go to Bryant-Denny. They got to go to Ole Miss, who's going to be people think are going to be tough this year.
Go to Texas.
They got to go to Texas. They could take some Texas could be a contender. I think the SEC is going to look a little more to Lawson. So again, you lose that Georgia game, you're not completely out of it yet if you go take care of business after that. You win that Georgia game, and then you're in the driver's seat to take the number 1 seed into Atlanta. So absolutely with the talent and the coaching, and I think the SEC is going to be a little bit of a cannibalism this year. Shit, hell yeah, Bama's got a shot.
That's why the Georgia game is so important.
But let me tell you though, another thing until I see Georgia with a pass rush, I'm not, with what I saw, what the boys capable of offensively, I really think Georgia could be a shootout because I don't think they can stop us. I'm just because you think about it, have they stopped us yet? In the last the one time they stopped us, we didn't have any receivers. When was the last time Georgia really stopped a Bama offense? Despite having those great defensive performances, and when was the last? And you have to think this may be even better Bama offense just because
of point. So they haven't. They didn't do it the last time.
That's my point. And then you got Milroe coming back, so I think they're going to overthink it again. All right, okay, we gotta stop Milroe, and then whoop, It's just I think that Georgia could turn out to be could turn out to be a shootout, man. And I like our chances at home. I just think those road games with that crowd is going to be those are the games that go on to Norman, because I played it before, and there's no fun place to play. Going to LSU, the toughest place to play in the country, in my opinion. And also going to Tennessee, which is also a tough place to play. But and I mean we just got to see. But I wouldn't. I just Georgia has to show me. I think they got a lot of people fooled because of what they did to Florida State in that bowl game. Depleted Florida State team. They look flawless. But then we must be reminded we're 7-1 against those jokers in the last 8 matchups. So I think mentally, especially coming off last year, we have something over them. Like I think they may be doubting themselves more than we know we can beat them. But I think that mentally they may be on something like, can we go into Bryant-Denny and win? And that's the biggest hurdle, the mental hurdle.
I heard that. OG Replays has a question for you, Patty. If Milroe isn't the dude this year, they have to bench Milroe. Who's the second QB?
Ooh, I think right now it's Ty. I
could go out there.
Yeah, I think it's our boy Ty Haynes right here, man. Look at him, dude's wiry.
Throw a football clear over those mountains,
dude. Uncle Rico's real son right here.
I think Ty Simpson, if it's not Jalen, but I mean, I'd be shocked right now if it's not Milroe. It would have to be, and God forbid something happened like an injury. So, but no, absolutely. From what I saw in the A-Day and what I've seen so far, I liked what I saw of the kid as the year went on. Everybody remembers him dropping the ball at the one, but I remember him running 90 yards to get there. So, and he's looked good passing. So, absolutely Simpson or Hayes, either one, interchangeable.
Dylan, Lonergan.
Dylan looked good, man. That dude's got a quick release.
Lonergan.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Dylan.
Lonergan.
That's the thing. You got an argument, man. That's the one positive. I think this quarterback room is as deep as it's been in a minute.
Chris James has a quick release too.
Jeez Louise, that was tough.
Hey, I get rid of him.
Yeah.
Fastest 2-minute offense there is, guys. Chris
Get rid of them.
Hugh Freeze says, "Hold my beer."
Oh,
The real pistol offense.
oh my God.
Enter Peyton Thorne.
Speaking of release, are you gonna release that girl that's tied up behind you, Justin?
Oh man.
Oh, here
Still in the band.
This is. But I did want to talk about. Did y'all see the Vegas odds that were released?
Yeah, let's talk about it, Ty.
Yes, let's talk odds.
That was crazy, man.
I disagree with some of these odds. Let me explain. We're a 7.5-point favorite at Wisconsin. Fine, right? That makes sense to me. We are a 4.5-point underdog at home against Georgia. That makes sense to me, right? And Chris, I hear you. I think you're certainly right that Georgia absolutely dismantling Florida State bumps their stock. And you are 100% right, where it's like Bama has been Georgia's boogeyman. But I also think what bumps Georgia's stock is that whether we like to admit it or not, they've been a damn good team. Like back-to-back natties. They've only lost one game to Bama, granted, and you're 100% well-placed there. They're a good team, right? And so, like, that's – they lost – okay, yeah.
Twice
they
to Bama.
lost. No, but I'm talking
but
about since they're
Adam,
back-to-back.
again.
Haven't lost a regular season game in 3 years.
Hey,
Yeah,
I wouldn't lose if I was playing with Virginia Military Institute, VMI, and all that too.
Sure.
Georgia played. Georgia,
We can debate the validity of their schedule. Absolutely.
Georgia has not even Texas A&M has been in the conference since 2012, and Georgia has not been to College Station yet.
Yep.
Would
Yeah,
you
I
want to
mean,
go
but
there?
It's not exactly like Texas A&M has been a gatekeeper within the SEC.
What I
right?
mean,
Like,
what I meant was, you know what I'm saying. But everybody knows there's no cakewalk in Aggieland.
The Mississippi
The
schools have
SEC baby Georgia. They always baby Georgia's schedule. Unlike this year, they got to play some teams this year.
Yeah.
Listen,
Chris,
they recruit at the
Chris,
highest levels of college football. They are getting in talent. They're winning games. Listen, sleep at them at your own peril. But one of the ways Nick Saban proved to be able to sustain success, get the best talent, be able to develop it. Check and check. I mean, they're doing both. So I understand us being a 4.5-point underdog to them, though I do think Alabama can win that game just because of the stylistic approach to the offense. You want to beat Kirby's defense, you got to test them long, make them spread out. Alabama can do that. The one that I just don't get, and if I was a betting man right now, it's the one I wanted to discuss. We are a 1-point underdog in Death Valley. So like I said earlier, my betting people out there will know a home game usually spots you 3 points. Really, I think you could interpret that we're a 2-point favorite in Death Valley because of that. But guys, that defense was dog water last year. It was awful last year. They have to replace Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. I know they still have Lacey. They have Aaron Anderson. They got some talented wide receivers. If you're asking me to rank my list of concerns for LSU, wide receiver is something I wouldn't ever be concerned about if I was an LSU fan. They figure it out. They have to replace Jaden Daniels. And I like Nuss, but Jaden Daniels was not a pocket passer. Jaden Daniels was so dangerous because he could use his legs, because you couldn't just blitz him, because he would just stove off on you, and next thing you know, you have one guy out of position. It's a 30-yard gain. LSU being a 1-point favorite over Alabama makes less sense to me than Alabama being a favorite at Tennessee. Like, I just, to me, they're very similar in terms of what they have to replace, and that Tennessee defense was better than the LSU defense last year. So I'm interested in hearing y'all's takes on this. That LSU game is the one that just did not make sense to me.
And then that's Bryant Denny West. Like,
yeah, no, we've done very well there.
We don't the one time they beat us, Jaden Daniels. I mean, you know, but for them to be so
Pete Golden.
Yeah.
Hello, Brian.
For them to be so boo-boo defensively.
Don't say those names. I'm still going through it.
And to lose what they lost, from this past draft class, Malik Neighbors, man, he's the best receiver LSU has since Jamar Chase. You know what I'm saying? And he's on that level with Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson wasn't a sneeze at either, but Brian Thomas was a dog. He ran a 4.3, and he was a 6'4" freak who I think is going to absolutely kill it in the league. They just lost some key pieces. I guess they're expecting Harold Perkins to have a bounce back season from his sophomore slump or something. I just don't get it, because I thought if we would be a 1-point underdog somewhere, it would be in Knoxville and not in Death Valley.
You and me both. You and me both. That's what confused me.
Yeah, because Tennessee has played us tough the last couple of years since Hyper's been there.
That veer and shoot.
Yeah.
Petty, you Week 0 Sports. You're always about betting and gambling the lines. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Ty on this. I don't know, Vegas always knows something, but these early lines are ridiculous. If you ever look at them, more times than not, they're anywhere from 5 to 10 points off when it comes to the actual game week because of injuries and what plays out. So you can never know. They're really basing this off of if these two teams played right now. But again, if they played right now, I absolutely think Tennessee's the tougher game. Like you said, Harold Perkins, they had him out of position all last year. Did they figure out where to put him? But they were still weak in the secondary, which is a place that I think Alabama absolutely exploits. I believe the matchups alone, Bama matches up so much more favorably with LSU than they do against Tennessee. Which again, I think they match up well with Tennessee, but I think it's going to be a tougher game. I think LSU has more question marks. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go back through the list, but you lose not just Neighbors, but Thomas was an unsung stud on that team that people overlooked or didn't dismiss because of Neighbors. But like I said, then you lose Daniels. It's just, I don't know, man. And it seems like Kelly, it's just a weird relationship down there that hadn't really meshed completely yet, even though it's kind of worked, but it kind of hadn't. So I don't know. I'm with you guys. I think the Tennessee game's a lot rougher. And I'm with Ty, man. You can't dismiss what Georgia's done the last 3 years. But again, if you're Alabama, you can't dismiss their kryptonite is the Crimson team. So it's going to be a great matchup. Georgia's under 3-year undefeated mark going into the regular season versus a team that ain't scared of them dogs. But no, I don't know. Who knows what Vegas knows? But what it does tell you, for all these people who don't think Alabama is going to be a playoff contender, all you got to do is look at the lines to know that's horse crap right there.
It just goes to show you perception is everything, because if you look at Ohio State, truthfully, with what they have on their roster, they should be ranked number 1 with what they have. You get what I'm saying? But they know that Ohio State has choked so much.
$34 million.
They've choked so much that it's just they just can't trust to put them at 1, and Georgia gets the benefit of the doubt. But you think about it, they just lost the 2 best offensive weapons, McConkey and Bowers. There's nothing to sneeze at. Those dudes were some dogs, man. They lost some key guys, Tyke Smith, those key guys in the secondary. They already were struggling with a pass rush. And I mean, they have running back by committee, but Dejon Edwards is gone. I thought he was the best one. And I mean, they lost Mims. But they replaced offensive linemen, but still, it's like I told people last year. I said that the offense sounds good, but I said when you lose a Todd Monken, I love Mike Bobo to death, but he's no Todd Monken. And when they lost Todd Monken, I said Georgia's getting too much credit, too much, because Monken was a wizard, man. As far as especially the scripted plays, the first 20 or so scripted plays of a game, Georgia would come out and jump on you. You'd be down 14-0 at the blink of like that. But they couldn't do that on the Bobo. Like they had the struggles, and what they lost out of McConkey and Bowers, they bailed them out a lot of times. Y'all go back and watch those Georgia games. Bowers was bailing them out. The Auburn game, where he pretty much single-handedly won. McConkey and Bowers have bailed them out time and time again. Now we're going to see, with them having to go on the road to Texas or go on the road to Tuscaloosa and go on the road to Oxford, to see if Oscar Delp and the rest of those guys, have what it takes to.
Delp is a dude.
That's what I forever labeled as the Bama test, man. Forever, the few teams that would kind of kiss great, championships during the Saban run. I always wondered if they could sustain it by the Bama test. When teams come and poach all your coaches and all your players turn over, can you just replace them and repeat like Bama did? And Georgia's now getting in that first real spot where they are losing
True.
a lot of guys. And now I think there's going to be the Texas A&M test for the portal, and that's going to be Ohio State's test. Can you spend $34 million on a ragtag team, put them together, and what's that do to your team chemistry? We're going to see.
Also, Chris Williams, your team gave up 213 rushing yards to a 4-letter acronym program. I don't want to hear about Auburn's rush defense. That's enough for you to get relegated.
Chris, man, I was at the Opry Hotel the weekend Auburn was playing in Maryland. It's not making it up. Family went up there for Christmas. So I got to be in there with both teams. And I'll be honest, man, I saw a lot of the Auburn players. They look like SEC football players. I saw a lot of the Maryland players, and I almost bet on you guys just by looking at a bunch of dudes that look like me. And I'm glad I didn't, because those dudes that look like me kicked y'all's ass.
Patty, did they look like me though?
No, they weren't that big. Dude, they would sign you to an NIL just from walking through the damn through the lobby.
Lose a legit 6'3", 255 Ryan Anderson edge.
Literally.
I was what I asked.
What's going up there, Lou? I think there's something left in
what
his
year did
shoulder.
you play?
Come on, hey, I'm down. Let's go, Ty.
I know if I get in a bar fight, who I'm calling.
I know. Stop calling Lou. Guys, I think the key to Alabama beating Vegas odds, I'm going to take a different approach. I think it starts in Madison, Wisconsin. If we can go ahead and solidify that game on the road, big matchup on the road, Madison, Wisconsin, handling the Badgers. And then I think the next week, if we can handle Georgia, I think that kind of sets up for how well we would do the rest of the season, in my opinion. Lucian.
I got a question, because I'm kind of getting sick of something. Everybody taking shots at Alabama here. I got a question for everybody else. How are you going to stop our offense?
No, it's fair.
Great question.
Like, legitimately, how are you going to stop our offense to even get in a conversation about truly beating us? That's what I'd like to know. How are you going to line up against all the offensive weapons we have, all the offensive line talent we have, against all the talented minds we have directing these young men? That's the question I'd like to know.
So I'll kick this off because I think that's a great question. That's why I think that, like, I understand why Georgia is a 4.5-point favorite at Alabama, because, like Chris said, that's the perception. But like I said right after that, we have the offense to be able to beat them whenever you're able to stretch Georgia, take them deep. It's why you just didn't have anything last year that could really test them except for Alabama in terms of testing them deep. Texas is going to be a real interesting test for Georgia because they're going to push it deep. And if Quinn Ewers sets his feet that game, because you want to talk about why Quinn Ewers is inconsistent, that's why. It's very simple. When he sets his feet, he has some of the most beautiful throws in college football. But it's all about that. But, Lucian, that's why I think Petty and I were a little bit confused. Tennessee, to me, is a team that I look at, and I'm like, I'm a bit more concerned about Tennessee than I am LSU. Mason Smith is gone. He's on the NFL. I thought he was still there. But Tennessee had a nasty pass rush last year. Tennessee could get to the quarterback last year. If Bama's offensive line is better, my man, I agree completely with you. If we can prove to keep Jalen upright, this offense is going to be unbelievably good. It's going to be real hard to stop. And then I completely agree, my man. Who stops us? I don't know. That's a great question.
And think about it, dude. Not only with Jeremy Bernard, we saw the receivers, but you add Ryan Williams, who's like a day one. Think about that, man. Then you have
10-4 as a sophomore.
You know what I'm saying? Then you have Justice Haynes, Richard
and
Young,
the running backs.
Like Jam Miller,
Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley.
How are you going to stop that, dude? That's why I said that, because for some reason, when you're on the road, teams get magical powers against you when you're on the road in the SEC. It just seems like they play above their level until the fourth quarter. And that's when you start seeing Bama, beat Bama, and the talent and the depth and everything starts to weigh on you. But it's just, this offense is so freaking lethal, man. Like nobody was expecting Bernard to have the game that he had. A-Day. Like, he's a stud. Like, we saw it feel like he's a stud, dude. Big, fast, physical. Then you have Ryan Williams, and no telling what you're going to see out of Rico Scott, because that's one you have to watch, who I think is going to be maybe who's going to be ready the time he steps foot on campus.
Barely saw
Amari
Caleb
Jefferson.
too.
Amari Jefferson, you know what I'm saying, and the guys that are ready to break out like Henderson, who has something to prove. Henderson and you still got those veterans, those savvy veterans, and Kobe Prentice and Law. I mean, dude, we are
And a 6'5" hybrid freak.
Yeah, and those tight ends.
Caleb Odom.
The tight end transfer for what's his name from Washington? What's his
Cuevas.
name? Cuevas. Oh, he's nice, man. Like he Dupree, and you have Oops, guys that I mean, man, we just have different. We can beat you in so many ways, man. And it's like we're gonna put up points. And our defense, we have just enough star power to kind of like it's crazy, but I may be crazy going out to say this, but I kind of see offensively like how LSU was in 2019. Just an offense that you knew that you just you're not going to be able to stop them. You're just going to have to score with them. But you have a defense that's just good enough and talented enough to get enough stops for you to win every game. Because y'all got to remember, LSU's defense didn't gel in 2019 until later on in the season.
Yeah.
You know, they were in the shootout with Texas week 1, and then later on in the season. But you knew what the offense was going to do with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You knew what they're going to do. It wasn't no stopping them. You knew it was coming, but there's nothing you could do about it. And that's how I feel that this offense is going to be.
Right. What gives me confidence as far as that is, you know, we didn't go after offensive weapons in the portal. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know, hey, we're good here, man. You know what I'm saying? So
good point.
Yeah, I'm expecting monster numbers from the offense this year, man. You know, because if they had any concern like they did with the secondary, we got talent in the secondary. You know, and we just needed the experience and depth. So that's what we're attacking in the portal. But as far as offensive weapons, we're not going after offensive weapons. You know, and so that's a good thing for us. You know, so hey, I'm telling teams beware.
Beware of the time.
Because we coming.
Literally, we are coming.
When we meet.
It's about nothing but that.
I was gonna make a huge joke about that, but I'm not.
Insert you joke.
Sticky Hugh.
Sticky Hugh. Guys, let's round this out real quick, rapid fire. Alabama shift on the field to the basketball court. Alabama got a huge commitment from the guy, Big Clifford, the red big dog out of Rutgers. We finally got somebody we can probably match up with a UConn, all these 7-footers. Grant Nelson's coming back. Chris, Dan, Patty, our basketball guys. What does this mean for our Crimson Tide? And tell us what the impact is real quick regarding this. Dan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, man, I love this move, man. This put us to a number 1 seed, man. Shoe in number 1 seed. This move here, it allows our guy to have his man at the capstone is Grant Nelson.
Yep.
You know, it allows him to be himself. You know, it allows him to be what we brought him here to be. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to worry about Grant Nelson going to the bench, being in foul trouble because, you know, the big guy leaning into him. You know, it allows Grant Nelson to be our stretch for, you know, he got to definitely work on his shots, start hitting his shots. But it allows Grant Nelson to be Grant Nelson. We got to remember that. We're not asking Grant Nelson to guard the Zach Edey's anymore. You know what I'm saying? So this right here is going to free Grant Nelson up. And I know he's loving it. It's going to save on his body. And he's going to get maybe a lottery grade next year. I'm expecting
definitely a lottery pick next year.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Chris.
I'm saying if Mark Sears come back, I really don't see who gonna beat us. I know you're gonna have your ups. I know you're gonna have your ups and downs, but see, Bama legit will have 13 players who really all can play. You don't have guys who need to everybody that's gonna be on the roster can legit play. Is ready for SEC ball. I don't know if anybody could ever say that they've had that before, where every scholarship player is ready. And the thing about it is, what makes it so beautiful is you have 3 or 4 guys off. We got 7, 8 other guys that can pick up the slack. We have so many scoring options. Like I don't like. I challenge everybody on here to go and watch the highlights of two guys, Chris Youngblood, who was the conference player of the year at South Florida, who is an absolute stud. He's that guy. Y'all got to remember, we didn't have nobody on the perimeter this year. That's why defense was so terrible. Who can really put that body on somebody, or who could really hold up out there consistently on a consistent basis, like that guy that went off from Grand Canyon that was giving us the business. Griffin did a good job on him, but Chris Youngblood is a 220-pound guy, 6'4", 220-pound perimeter guy that can put that shoulder down. Who's tough? He's tough, and he shoots 42% for the field. Last year, Wrightsell was our best shooter, but we just added two guys, Houston Millette, who's another 6'5" long guy. Who, I mean, he has his offensive arsenal is, think Riley Nelson with better handles and better offensive. I mean, Riley Griffin with better handles and better offensive moves. Like he has a fadeaway. It's just something. His offensive game is just phenomenal. Those two guys, and they both shot it just as well as our best shooter Wrightsell last year. So you have three guys that shot like over 42% from three last year on the roster. I mean, which is insane. But the addition of Clifford, man, it's like if we would have had Clifford, we would have beat UConn and won it all. He's basically a Bediako defensively that has an offensive game. They also can score offensively, but you don't need him to score offensively. He's a dirt dog. He averaged like 2.9 blocks a game. And then you already had another shot blocker in Riley Nelson that averaged like one. Riley. Who I said?
Riley Nelson.
Not Riley. I mean Grant Nelson, who averaged 1.9 block shots per game. So you have two shot blockers out there. That's out there with that guy, man. It's so much that could be said about this, but man, I'm excited, man, because I really believe that firmly plants us as the number one seed. And if, like I said, if Sears come back, man, you're gonna have to get a microscope to find losses on that schedule. Because I really believe we will be one of those 36-2, type teams in the tournament, man. Like I really don't see nobody matching up with us in the country.
In the country, Craig. Petty?
I don't think Nelson, but Chris Nelson ain't gonna be called on to block shots at all, because you're not just bringing in Clifford, you're bringing in the 5-star and Reed too at center. And man,
Sherrill.
Yeah, and then you got Sherrill, so you got those two. You got two 4-star forwards coming in, and so, and then you got Philon coming in. Man, he's recruiting at such a high level right now. I don't think. And look, losing Sears, I don't feel like Sears is going to come back. But even if he doesn't, I have so much confidence in Oates' ability to kind of plug and play right now. You hate to see it, but you feel confident that he's going to replace it. But the thing is. And Dan, you heard Dan say this all year, man, we just need that big guy. We need that low post presence. That's something Justin was always complaining about. And that's absolutely right. Well, he's answered that with the number 4 shot blocker in the country and Clifford, and bringing in a 5-star center. And you know how basketball works. You come in ready to play at these 5-star kids. So I'm like you guys. I'm expecting a 1 seed next year. This team's only going to get better.
Yeah, and depending on what Jaron Stevenson does, we may add one more.
Yeah,
one more.
I mean,
so yeah, I mean he not only recruiting, he's building a roster. It's different, be able to recruit. Coach Cal recruited probably the best. But look where building a roster is what Nate Oates has done, and that's what separates him from the Calipari's.
Calipari's just like Dale Brown, man. He can recruit them, but can't coach them. You can bring in all the Shaqs and Chris Jacksons you want, but if you can't get them there, Oates has proven he can coach guys that aren't even on that. You're bringing in Nelson and these guys from mid majors.
Bringing in guys that complement what your system.
Nelson, like I said, man, you're talking about Nelson's 3-point shot. I expect his 3-point percentage to go up drastically without having to bang on the low.
A lottery pick next year.
Yep, it's exciting.
Exciting, guys. Well, guys, that closes us out. But before we close out, we want to promote the other shows that are here on the number one spot for Bama content on the Bama Standard. And you can find those shows tomorrow, Wednesday. with Crimson Dynasty with C.C. Payne, Hannah Stevens, and the one and only Final Whistle Dan on that show tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central. And on Saturday nights, Saturday nights Talking Bama with Josh JT Tucker, Justin Baines, and Chris Beam. And listen, that is a great show on Saturday nights. You can watch it before you watch your Saturday Night Live, and it comes on at 8:30 Central p.m. So tune into those shows, guys. Listen, the Bama Standard is that #1 spot regarding Bama content in the land. So, guys, we hit that time.
Teague's Take.
Teague's Take. Don't forget Teague's Take tomorrow as well. It comes on right after, I think it's 8:15 Central tomorrow night. Teague's Take. Amazing show. The legendary Cowboys legend, Alabama legend, George Teague. It doesn't get any better than that. That just shows you, listen, we offer all the best here at the Bama Standard. We give you the works, sort of like Hugh Freeze, what he orders when he goes to the parlor. Guys.
Yes.
You saying we capping Chris Williams? Okay.
I'll go. Hey, Chris, I'll ask for forgiveness. I'll go to Reverend Hughes at the massage parlor. When he gets to that holy moment, I'll say, "Forgive me, Reverend Freeze."
Oh man,
Where are the lies?
Where are the lies? We just be speaking facts. Listen, guys, how can you can find me MCadell11. At the end of the day, find me here on the Final Wilson with the best cast in the land, where we're constantly looking to roast Auburn. Ty Hayes, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Around the Table Sports, pretty much anywhere that will give me the opportunity to utilize a microphone to roast Auburn. That's where I am. That's where I am, right? Happy to be here, gentlemen.
Chris James.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on X at Coach Chris James, on Instagram on Final Whistle Chris, inspired by Final Whistle Dan. And you can also find me sneaking up on Dan, and I'm gonna come in there and put an elbow on him on live camera. I'm not gonna tell you which week it's gonna be, but it's gonna be soon.
I want you to go back and do that as a wrestling promo and the voice of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That's Dan. That's Dan, boy. Hats off Jim Duggan.
I saw her, Chris. Did you see her in the background?
Yeah, she had a sign, "Help me."
Yes,
I saw her escape, and we're not gonna see from Justin for the end of the night. He's gonna be after.
Just gonna be on talking. She's gonna be trying to get out the window. You can see her feet hanging from the window, trying to get out. Get back in here. Just gonna turn the camera off.
Speaking of performing under the lights.
All my life I had to fight. Man, what?
Dan, I know you had a busy weekend last week performing at all the senior citizen homes. How can they find you besides seeing you at the nursing home performing for Miss Gertrude and the rest of the older ladies?
Hey, I still got to pay the bills now. Don't get it twisted.
Dirty Dan.
You know,
Dirty Dan.
It's not. Don't make me come down there, little bro. You know, you can catch me on X at the Final Whistle Dan, Facebook Dan James IV. You catch me right here every Tuesday night. Well, most Tuesday nights. I'm not gonna say every Tuesday night now after last week. Most Tuesday nights, right here on this very channel with you guys, my wonderful co-hosts, my wonderful team. I enjoy you guys. I love each and every one of you. Catch me on Wednesday nights, the Crimson Dynasty, with my co-hosts, C.C. Payne and Hannah Stevens. Wonderful show. I encourage all y'all to tune in. Y'all be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I pulled a hammy at the nursing home last week, man. Y'all help a brother out. Throw up some likes, man. Some subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I'm not trying to keep doing this, man.
Hey, my phone rung at 1:34 in the morning. It was Dan. I had to go help him up out the nursing home.
Yeah.
I had to bring the stretcher.
Which explains why you're talking in your sleep right now.
No, it's just allergies kicking my butt. My eyes are puffier than Never mind.
Snoops.
Now keep talking. I'm gonna puff them up even more.
Smoking some of that Great Dane with Cheech and Chong.
Hey, you got to get to me first. You know your blind self can't drive after 8 o'clock.
Squinting right down the road.
I love you,
Like
brother.
dances at the nursing home. You get done at 3.
Right before the Jello come out.
And now on stage, Dirty Dan.
Show them some love.
Slicky Dirty Dan.
Licky,
Dirty
dirty
Dan.
Dan.
Tired of
Come out
tired.
there in the walker.
Dan running out like he run out on the basketball court. You got to run locker room. Then he run on stage.
Timberlands and basketball shorts.
Hey, he got them 1992 tearaways on.
Knee-high socks. Converse.
Dan the Jackie Moves.
Man, y'all stop.
Loose time.
My
How
bad.
can
My
they
bad.
fight this?
Oh man, you can find me on X. I'm always clowning, resharing something, or probably angering a Tennessee or an Auburn fan, because you know we live for that on this panel. The greatest panel of Avengers on the planet. You know, it's Rolution21 on Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lucian Graves. We're always talking about something Alabama football, and one of those, you know, that's all we like to talk about there. And on Tuesday nights, you can find me here every Tuesday night with the greatest panel, talking about the greatest team, talking about the greatest sport ever made. And I love it. And it's a pleasure to be here with my guys. You know, it's fun. So if you ain't hit that like and subscribe, like Dan said, and checked out all of our sponsors, you need to do so. And check out all of our shows, because, you know what I'm saying, the Bama standard is going to be hot. And this next season, if you ain't on Team DeBoer, get on the train or get ran over by it. Roll Daggum Tide.
Because I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Teddy, before you go, guys, I want to shout out workspacesolutions.com. It's workspacesolutions.com. Workspacepros.com. If you want to enrich your online digital presence, hit up Workspace Solutions at workspacepros.com. Betty, which parlor will you be at down there in the Plains in Lee County?
I'm gonna open up my own
What's it going to be called?
business.
Massage.
Business is
Massage.
booming.
Do we all get VIP?
It's called Freeze Your Ropes here.
Sponsored by Nugenics.
Sponsored by Nugenics, so you know it works. Which is, you know, nothing but an Auburn brand. Hey man, catch me here every Tuesday night with my guys, the Avengers of Final Whistle, ragging on Auburn, making some jokes. And every once in a while I moonlight on the Bama Standard when they need me to fill in, and I talk trash for those guys. So you can catch us, you know, at 7 on that one, and then all the great shows here. But I'm Petty on Facebook, Petty_Daniel on the X. And like I said, catch me at Freeze's Frozen Ropes down in Lee County.
Freezing the ropes, sponsored by Nugenics. And listen,
Freezing the ropes.
we don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide here. That's what you should name it. And we can end on those two words: roll Tide.
Roll Daggum Tide.
Bama Blitz.
Nothing but the Tide.